So it's nice to be back with you again, and I look forward to continuing our conversation around healing. And I guess I've been sensing, Denzil, that it's just a very intense time for many people at the moment. There's a lot changing in the planet, a lot of shifts in consciousness. And I'm keen to know for you as a healer, what feels most inspiring around healing at the moment? What are you most feeling called and drawn to bring through to the people that you support?
Um, First of all, hello, and I'm so delighted to have you back with me. And Susanna, the first thing that comes to mind when I look at healing these days, and how the if I can use the word ministry, how that ministry is evolving, is just to get a basic understanding of energy and working with it. You know, we always tend to see ourselves as separate from the world we live in. The I is very strong within me. And therefore, to understand that I'm one with everything around me, okay, and just be in that energy of being one with everything around me is healing unto itself. So suppose I were to separate myself, right? Then I don't feel that oneness with everything around me. And therefore, the working with the sun, the working with the air, the working with the element of water does not exist because I see myself as separate. However, if I see myself in that oneness with everything around me, then as healing happens in the universe around me, it happens in the trees, it happens in the plants, it happens in the animals, so it happens with me.
Yeah,
And
beautiful.
then I can allow that energy to flow within me.
That's really beautiful. And I completely agree. And what I get from what you're saying is that for you, the divine is in nature and it's everywhere in everything. What I think many struggle with, including myself, is that the world around us oftentimes feels very difficult at the moment. It's like there's a lot of suffering, there's a lot of conflict and war and trauma. And so I suppose for me, what I've been learning is the ability to connect inwardly with a sense of that energy that you speak of, that we find so naturally in nature, that is the connection with the divine. And out of that space, to then envision what it is we desire to feel and to create. So we become our own generators of the healing energy, which is everywhere, of course, around us, but also within us.
Right, right. It's making friends. It's actually making friends with the energies around. I give you an example of this. You know, a lot of people during this time, because it's extremely hot in India, come to me with stuff like sunburn and different skin diseases and ailments that happen because of the sun. And you see, all of our lives we spend saying, oh my God, this sun is so hot and it's burning me. And I can't step out in the sun because it's going to burn me, right? That's the idea we have in our head. Now we twist that around and I say, don't say that. Say I'm friends with this sun
Mm.
and it is healing my skin. It's not burning it up. When you start to say that and you've made friends with the sun, the energy of the sun doesn't burn the trees up, right? It nurtures the trees, it gives it that energy, provided they're getting the rest of the energy with it. But their oneness with that is what is healing. And
Mm.
I believe that our healing comes from there. Say, for instance, if you're doing Reiki or you're doing pranic or you're doing any kind of energy healing modality, it comes from around you, provided you allow. Now, that's very important.
So, how do you encourage people who may not be experiencing it into that allowing?
It's a question of creating awareness.
Mm.
We're not built to be aware of it. We've lost over time, we have lost that energy. We've lost that ability to be aware that I am one with the air that I breathe. We talk about it and it sounds very good in social circles. Oh, I'm one with nature. What does that mean?
Mm.
My oneness with nature is feeling part of that sea as I travel, as I walk, that sea, that ocean of everything around.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
you
to melt into it. That is the idea, to melt into it.
yeah, that's lovely. And you have a remarkable ability to reframe things and to rediscover that. Like there's a beautiful, buoyant positivity about you, Denzil. And I'm sure it's something that you have, worked to cultivate. It wasn't just that you came in feeling that way, that through your own personal work and development, you've come to that. One of the things that I notice is when people are struggling, I'm thinking of somebody who's been in the medical system having chemo and all sorts of other treatments for leukemia. When you get really low, you start to feel really low and kind of your energy is low and, the negative thoughts start to come. What interests me is how we can help people to lift a little bit. So you might be in a hospital bed, right? And, one of the ways that I think is so simple, but that anybody in any situation can do is to just move towards gratitude. So even the intention to be grateful for something, even before you've found that something to be grateful for, already you start to lift. And our job when we're feeling in those places of hopelessness or just overwhelm or whatever it is just to begin to lift a little bit.
I completely agree with you. And why lift a little bit? Because that's where we aspire to be. The thing is that we don't know the direction. So when, say, somebody like Susanna comes along and she just talks about gratitude, it builds that sense within me to be grateful in this moment. Just
Mm.
that sense. You see, that sense is an energy that is traveling through you and being in sync with everything else around you. I'm grateful for this moment. I'm grateful to be here. Just that much.
Yes.
Just that much. Because that creates a sense. I believe that the two most powerful healers are the sense of love and the sense of gratitude.
Mm.
They will heal you, provided you just believe. So that in unto itself brings a lot of power and positivity into yourself. You
Mm.
see, say for instance, I'll give you an example. A lot of, as you quite rightly said, a lot of people when they deal with cancer, for instance, feel down. It brings you down. Just the thought, because modern medicine has built that fear into that sense of treatment. And so, for instance, you go into chemotherapy, and you're in that midst. It's fear when you go into it. It's fear while you're in it, and it's fear while you're out of it. And always when somebody comes to me and tells me, oh, I'm going in for a chemo session, I always say, one thing that you need to remember is that process is working in tandem with your body. Every process, when we accept, allow, and say, okay, I'm doing this. This is something that will heal me. Why do I do chemotherapy? It's because it will heal me. But where does my belief come from? If my belief is rooted in fear, then
Mm.
I'm creating fear within that therapy. But if I believe that, yes, it's a tough process, but it will heal me, and my body and every cell within my body is going to work to multiply that healing within me, then it works within me.
Yeah, that's powerful. I think that one of the things that people struggle with when they get kind of sucked into the medical system, the mainstream medical system, is that they lose their own autonomy. They lose their sense of the power of their own body's healing energy. And so
That's
I had a conversation a couple of days ago with this friend of mine, and she just was feeling kind of lost in it, and as if they it's like they own you, they take over you, the hospital
yeah,
takes over
yeah.
you, and
Very
where
true.
are you
Yeah.
in it? And so as we sort of navigated together what she was moving through, what felt important to me was really for her to nourish and nurture her spiritual connection more than anything, back into that radiance, that power, that self-healing energy of the body, and then to choose the treatments, whether it's a yes or whether it's a no, and to take it moment by moment, but to not be bullied into a trajectory. Because I think when people are in so much fear, it's like the authority comes along as the voice of the doctors or the surgeons or whatever, and is very, very powerful. But for me, more powerful or more important than that is an individual's soul path. And so that's what we have to come home to, is just, letting go of the idea of trying to lengthen life by this many months or this many years, and just bringing it right home to live this moment well, and living this moment well, whether you are struggling through a diagnosis with cancer or you're in good health, is the same thing. Living it well means just kind of listening to your truth, finding that alignment with presence, with source. And just, I always say taking the next right step. And someone said to me recently that she always says taking the next wise step, whatever that is, like the
That's
body's
right.
own
That's right.
wisdom, to just take the
That's
next step, not get into the future too far. Just what can I do right now?
yes, presence. And that's the idea. But just to hark back to what you said a minute ago, and this is very important. I think in the treatment of or my healing ministry as far as cancer is concerned, this is very important for me. I don't believe that any doctor judges the amount of time you have left on earth. That's your sole prerogative. So
Exactly.
nobody can tell you you have only 2 years left or you have only 6 months left. And especially with things like cancer, which are considered terminal, the doctor pronounces and you believe.
Mm.
So whenever I'm working with somebody, I say that pronouncement is something that you just remove for now and just live in this moment and believe that every moment, every day, in every way, I get better and better and better.
Mm.
Come from there. Just that simple thing, nothing complicated. Just the fact that you're living in this moment. And in this moment, when I take it into the next moment, I'm bringing that healing to myself
Mm.
in whatever form it might come. It might come in medicine, it might come in procedure, it might come in the way you feel, it might come in the way you eat, wherever it might come to you from. Just believe that it is coming to you. Accept and allow. Make space. The healing will fall in place, provided you make space. And I work with people who were given 2 months, but now are into 10 years or 5 years, and everything has changed because
Wonderful.
you changed how you believed.
And how
Not
do you notice them doing that, Denzil, changing their belief?
You have to work on it every day. You
Yeah.
see, it's like rewiring yourself. Quite
Yes.
literally, you're changing that wiring for yourself. You don't come from bitterness. I believe, like we were sharing last time, I believe cancer comes from extreme, prolonged bitterness. When you
Mm.
hold that bitterness within you, when you hold anger within you, when you hold hate within you,
Mm.
over a time it becomes a ball of hate. That ball of hate is what turns cancerous for you,
Mm.
because your body you start to somewhere along the way hate yourself for being in that moment, and for instance not saying anything,
Yes. Yes.
you know
I think that's a
not
common
raising
theme,
your
like people
not
not being
raising
able to say no is a common
That's right.
theme in people that are moving through the journey of cancer.
Yes, to be
Yeah.
able to find that voice for yourself and express it, to be able to understand that yes, I have built up this hate. A lot of the times, Susanna, a lot of folks don't even realize that I'm in a state of hate or I'm in a state of anger, because they've for so many years have been programmed to believe this is what life is.
Yes. Mm. Very true.
You know,
Denzil, in the instances where somebody was given 2 months to live, maybe you could take the example of one and tell us what you noticed started to change in terms of the belief, like how that person made the move out of having 2 months left to live to living 10 years. What did you witness?
lovely. So let's start right where I am right now, okay? And a few months ago, a lady came to me and she has a certain kind of cancer which is inhabiting her stomach, okay? And the stomach essentially is your digestion of thought, right? So the first thing that I tell everybody to do is what is write down for yourself. And this is where I believe that writing down is very important. I in fact have a journaling on somebody who comes to me for especially for cancer, because I believe that journaling is a very important tool to make you aware of where you are.
Mm.
So journal and tell yourself, what is it that I'm feeling? And what are the thoughts that come to me? And just write them down. Don't do anything else. On a daily basis, write your thoughts down.
Mm.
Even if it's not a formatted journal, I have a formatted journal which I use, but you don't need to. Just write your thoughts down. Where and out of those thoughts, what are positive thoughts and what are negative thoughts? And what are reoccurring as a negative thought to you? And then she realized as she wrote that she actually wasn't really able to digest a certain incident in her life.
Mm.
You see, your stomach is the area of digestion. So when you're not able for a very long time to digest something that happens to you, I can't deal with this thought. And she used to say it and she didn't even realize it. And that changed for her. So when that realization and awareness came that, oh, I have come to this space where now I understand better my thoughts. That awareness brings the change.
Yeah.
So every time she had that thought about it was with her partner. Every time she had that thought, she changed that thought for
She
herself,
replaced
and
it. She reframed it.
she reframed it. And that's where the change comes in.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And that's where healing takes place.
Yeah.
Healing takes place because I believe that every cell in that area of your body comes to that belief that this is what is happening with me. Now we have to take that belief and turn it around. And I'm delighted every time that happens
Mm.
because I see it happen live. Sometimes it's very difficult for people because they don't, you're not brought up to it.
Mm.
Your thinking is not brought up to it. So how do I change my thinking? What has your experience been with say and you as well as me work with people who have diseases that are terminal? How do you take them through that journey?
Yeah, well, first off, I really concur with you around the reframing, and I have been very blessed to study closely with Byron Katie, who is a masterful teacher in this area, that she teaches people just to find freedom in relation to any trauma that they've been through, whether that is rape or murder or anything, to find the freedom in their thinking and set themselves free and energetically and in their bodies to live a life of peace and of blessedness. Um, I suppose my approach is to have a reverence for. I'm not really afraid of cancer. Like, I don't see cancer as this terrible thing. I see cancer as a gateway to deepen into greater understanding and to really choose again in your life. Like, it's just an indicator that somehow the life that you've been living isn't perfectly in alignment with your truth or your soul. And so, what I do, attempt to do, is to hold a space for somebody to listen deeply to what that truth is and to navigate through the trauma or the upset or those things. But to what feels important to me is to give someone an anchor into the connection with source. And it's such an intangible thing, Denzil. But, one of the ways that I make that connection myself is through meditation and prayer. I practice a form of prayer called affirmative prayer, and I made a course on it called Move Mountains with Prayer. And what I love about this form of prayer is it's not like you're praying to a God that's out there somewhere. You pray, the words arise out of the divine that is you. So you create within yourself the context of listening, of availing yourself to that beautiful divine energy and flow as words that move through. And what I find is through this, it's a 6-step process. Through this 6-step process, even if I begin it feeling a bit like off or not quite in alignment, as I move into it, it's like the energy of the prayer and that alignment takes over, and the words that come through shift physical reality. So it might shift somebody's belief about themselves or their identity. It might just shift me, in relation to the person or the situation. But I feel that intention is really powerful. And especially when, like in this instance, when two people join together with an intention to bring healing, to bring insight, it's like the work that you might do or that I might do is amplified by the fact that we join hearts in service of how can we help people that are moving through, say, the journey of cancer?
Very true. And that's so beautifully put. I believe that one of the most powerful ways of energizing yourself, to bring energy to yourself, is through prayer, through chanting. You see, you're essentially, when you pray and you repeat, as human beings, we're rewiring our brain.
Mm.
And therefore you go from a lack of belief, and a space of fear, to a space of belief and a space of peace and celebration.
Do,
So
do,
you're moving your mind with prayer, and that I think is one of the most powerful ways, and so beautifully put by you in this moment.
Denzil, are you able to share what your personal practice is? Like, do you have a daily practice that allows you to kind of maintain your connection, or is it just kind of natural to you because you've taught this for so long and this is your way? Like, would you say you have a personal spiritual practice?
I have a personal spiritual practice that spans the day,
Yes.
quite literally.
Yes.
So, like, I wake up in the morning, um, to two things. I wake up to meditation, so I do about half an hour of meditation, in the beginning, which includes different practices, which are mostly Indian in their format. And then I give gratitude, and I do yoga. So I do yoga every day, right? And I do breath work every day. And within that process, a part of it is, and I do it outdoors. I never
Mm,
do yoga indoors. I believe any kind of exercise is an outdoor thing, not an indoor thing. And I do it outdoors. And while I'm there, part of it is just lying on a mat.
mm,
Okay. And just above me are these beautiful trees. And that's how it's built. I mean, that's how the space I do this is. And there's these beautiful trees, and then there's the sky above it. And around me, it's about 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, and the birds are awaking in that moment. And
wow.
so there's this chatter of birds, and I'm looking up at the sky, and all I say is thank you. All I say is thank you, because there is, you just think of that yourself as being part of that universe, and it's so beautiful in that moment to just look up at the sky and say, wow, that's the scope of me, and to just be thankful. And so it travels through the day. So for instance, and I think that the essence of goodness comes with gratitude.
Mm,
So in everything that you do, for instance, I'm eating a meal, I have learned over time, and I've learned over time to be grateful while I eat,
beautiful.
for the food, for the people that made it, while I'm eating.
Mm,
And this food that is going into my body is there to nourish me. And everything that I don't need, I will let go of, because that's how my body is.
mm,
So to let go of the stuff that I don't need in my eating. If I'm traveling, I say that everything is easy with me. And trust me, journeys are very easy with me, but that's how it is. So just to bring awareness, you see, this comes with awareness. As you're aware, and it's not something that's natural to me. It's something that I have built over time.
Mm.
So the daily practices of just being grateful in every moment, and as much as you can. You cannot be, I think it would be godly to be grateful in every moment, but as many moments as you can, you're grateful, and that takes it forward, in whatever form. And I think that's the essence of where I am.
That's lovely. And I think you know, it's worth throughout the day checking in. And when you see yourself perhaps getting stressed or maybe being triggered by something, to take a conscious breath and move back into gratitude in some way. Because if we
Yes.
can do that, I had a situation yesterday where I have a little dog and she's quite elderly and she had a stroke. And it was very strange to watch her because she was very disoriented. And I was like, wow, is my little buddy from 15 years, is she getting ready to leave this life? And it was, quite intense for my heart to imagine letting her go because I love her very much. And then I just became so grateful for the connection. And I was just like, okay, I don't know what's coming next. She seemed peaceful. She wasn't in distress. So I just lovingly cared for her. I put food down. In the beginning, she didn't eat, and then she ate a little. And I just came back to the love and the gratitude that I have for her in my heart. And, today she's moving very slowly, but it's like she's here and we share life, and there's so much to be grateful for. Mm,
That's right, exactly. In every moment, just to be grateful for that moment, whatever it might bring you. It
yeah.
brings you life. If you're alive, it brings you life.
Mm,
And just knowing that belief, you just did a course on breath work, and I believe that with every breath I take, and that's the Indian perspective, that's the yogic perspective on it. With every breath I take, I bring in the magic of life to me.
mm. And with every breath you release, what do you release?
I let go of whatever is not for me.
Yes, yes. And another way to say it is you breathe in the magic of life and you breathe out love. You
That's
gift your
right.
own breath back, or you
That's
breathe
right.
out
You're
healing.
sending out love and light as
Mm,
well.
mm.
Beautiful. And that's the essence of it. The rest is all the trappings of life. So I think very, very beautiful. And it's it's just knowing in this moment that I am here and now. And that's it. That's all that matters. What has happened is happened. It's over and done with. What is coming to me, I do not know. But I'm here and now. And let me celebrate this moment of my life.
Yeah, I love that. Denzel, did you ever see that? There was a video going around for a while that was very funny. There was an Indian man, I don't know who he was, but his message was, why worry? He said, so you have to ask, there was sort of like a flow chart, and it said, so with this situation that you're worried about, is there something you can do about it? And if you go to the flow chart, say yes, he says, then why worry? And he said, then you go back and you say, with this situation you're dealing with, is there nothing you can do about it? Yeah, there's nothing I can do it. Then why worry?
Exactly.
Either way, why worry? Yeah.
That's
A lot
very,
of
very true.
a lot of life can be
That's
spent worrying and then we miss the moment, we miss this moment and savoring it. So as much as we can to pull our attention back, and the breath helps us do that, of course, to anchor into the breath, to anchor into the preciousness of life unfolding moment by moment. Yeah.
that's so true. That is very true. That's the essence of it.
Well, I think we've about reached our time. Was there anything you wanted to add before we hop off the call?
I think that I'm delighted to be here, and I believe that we can share a lot between us. So I'm happy uh, to be with you and to share stuff that both of us are working with, and that I believe will bring a lot of joy to everybody. So everybody out there, both of us, I believe, wish you joy and peace and ease in every moment.
With lots of exclamation marks, like you always do in your text, Enzo, which I think is
Yeah.
delightful. Thank you for the conversation. I look forward to another one.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Susanna.
Bye for now.